SADHGURU'S teachings.
Living on the land liberated. Migration to the city is going to be so large in the next 15, 20 years. Cannot manage. Already cities are becoming more cities are engineered. The migration is going to be so big. Unless you make living on the land really trees are the best way because more than practical long it will give you this example.
Namaskaram, Sadhguru. So, I want to know the truth about rebirth and reincarnation. In one of my movies, I play a character who's reborn with the same traits. Is that even possible?
Namaskaram, Kajal. When you say rebirth, you're essentially asking what happens after death. Well, some things you know best only by experience. I'm sure you're not ready for that, nor do I want you to go in that direction.
If I tell you there is reincarnation, what is the option that you have? To believe it or disbelieve it? Isn't it? If you believe what I say, you just have a fancy story going for yourself. If you disbelieve it, you have something to deny. Both ways only entertainment will happen. Nothing else will happen, isn't it? If you really want to know, you must be willing. If you're willing to apply yourself, there is a way to know. In my life, it's a living reality. The last 3 lifetimes for me are in the same place, same work, to some extent same people. Till it becomes a reality in your experience, you should not believe this nonsense.
Don't believe anything, don't disbelieve anything, but if you just pay attention to yourself, you can see the body that you carry is something that you slowly accumulated. So the body that you carry is a piece of this planet actually. The mind that you carry is a heap of impressions that you gathered. So what is it that accumulates this heap of food and heap of information as mind and body? That dimension is beyond birth and rebirth. You may once again accumulate another body and another mind, but essentially life as such is the same thing. So, when it comes to life, you must understand there is something called as my body and your body, there is something called as my mind and your mind, but there is no such thing as my life and your life. Life is just a cosmic happening. This is a living cosmos. How much of life you captured will determine how large a life you live. What is the scope and spread of your life will simply depend on how much life you captured within yourself. The entire science of yoga is just about this, how to make this life super-enhanced so that the scope and spread of this life is as much as it can be.
Yoga is not about standing upside down.
Yoga is not something you do when you only retire.
Yoga is not about twisting your body.
Yoga is not only about having a six-pack.
Yoga is not just to make you look good.
And now my guru, Sadhguru, will tell us what yoga really is.
As there is a science and technology for external well-being, there is a whole science and technology for inner well-being. This is what yoga is about. If you learn to use it, it will definitely work for you irrespective of who you are.
How can you avoid angry?
How can you avoid? Yeah, if you're driving on the Coimbatore streets, you have to avoid the medians which are placed in odd places. You have to avoid bad drivers. You have to avoid drunken men crossing the street, children crossing the street, all kinds of things. But when you're driving in Coimbatore street, do you have to avoid the moon? I'm asking, do you have to avoid the moon? No, because the moon is not on the street, isn't it? So similarly, right now are you angry? No? Then why should you avoid it? There's no need to avoid it. It is just that you think anger is an entity. Anger is not an entity. You become angry. You become angry. Anger is not sitting somewhere and you go hit it. There is no such thing. You become angry. When you become angry, is it pleasant for you or unpleasant for you? Unpleasant for you. Unpleasant for others for sure, unpleasant for yourself also. Today, medical science proves to you, when you're angry, you're actually poisoning your system. We have always known this, but today chemical tests clearly show you that you're actually poisoning your system, generating poison in the system by being angry. So, why would you want to poison yourself? It is not a conscious act. You're poisoning yourself, you're causing unpleasantness to yourself only because your mind is not taking instructions from you, isn't it? It is not taking instructions. If it was taking instructions from you, you would have said blissfulness, isn't it? You wouldn't say anger. But now when you want to be peaceful, it is getting angry because it is not taking instructions from you. So if your mind is not taking instructions from you, you have to pay a little more attention to it. Why is it not taking instructions from you? If you understand this, you don't have to avoid anger, because anger is not sitting there and getting at… You are becoming angry, you are becoming unhappy, you are becoming miserable. These things are happening to you essentially because you have not done anything to take your faculties under your control. It is happening accidentally, just by chance. If outside situations are good, you are also good. If outside situations are bad, you're also bad. That is not how human life should be. Human life should be like this. If I am good, everything around me becomes good. This should be the reality, isn't it? Right now, if things around me are whichever way, I will become that way. No. Human consciousness should create situations. Right now, situations are creating human consciousness. That's not the right way to shape human life.
This is the space in the body through which life descends into the fetus. So this is the Brahmarandra. If dimensions beyond the physical become a constantly active process, some of you might have felt this in your Shambhavi. You got an antenna on your head, which is giving you a certain perspective of life. If you have a newborn baby in your home, you would see a certain part of the skull is not formed. Have you noticed this? So the child has to be handled gently, that part is just skin, there is no bone. So, this part in the yogic terminology is referred to as Brahma Randhra. Randhra means a passage, like a small hole or a tunnel or a passage. So this is known as Brahma Randhra. So this is the space in the body through which life descends into the fetus. Because life has descended into the fetus and life keeps its options open. Whether this body is capable of sustaining it or not, it keeps the options open. That much awareness is there in the life process, so it keeps that trapdoor open till the last minute. It wants to keep it open just in case it finds the body unsuitable for its existence, it will leave. And it does not want to leave from any other passage in the body, it wants to leave the way it came. A good guest always comes through the front door and goes out through the front door. If he comes through the front door and goes out to the back door, that means your house is swept clean. So, he wants to go out to the same door, so he keeps it open till the last minute, he wants to keep his choices. There are any number of… probably if there are doctors or obstetricians, you would know, there are any number of cases where by all medical parameters, the fetus is healthy, everything is fine, but for some reason, a stillbirth happens. Simply because the life within is still choosing. If it finds the wrong kind of body is happening, life has its own karmic substance and the fetus has the karma of the parents. So, it has made its choice, it is 90% of the time it is correct or more, it is correct. Sometimes it is conscious that it could make a wrong choice. So this is the reason why during pregnancy, so many precautions were taken to create a different kind of atmosphere around a woman who is pregnant. We are giving that up now, a woman goes to work, she sits in the cinema, she goes all over the place. Such a thing is not maintained anymore. This was done just hoping something better than who both of you are comes into your womb. You know what I'm saying? You are husband and wife, you are of a certain quality. You want your child to have a higher quality than who you are, not just like you. Someone better than you should come into your womb, so that for that sake, even a husband was not allowed to see a woman beyond a certain stage of pregnancy, because she is to be kept in a certain state of comfort and well-being, with a certain type of thought, with a certain type of atmosphere, trying to please her system in all ways, right kind of incense, right kind of sounds, right kind of mantras, right kind of food, everything, so that her body is in a state that it welcomes the right kind of being. Maybe in today's world it is all these things are out of question. So if a being enters into this particular fetus and finds it unsuitable as it evolves to become a baby, then it leaves. That is why one door is kept open. So this is the Brahma Randhra. And even when you leave one day, you can leave whichever way. But if you leave through the Brahma Randhra, it is the best way to live. If you live consciously whichever part of the body, it is fine, but if you can live from there, it is the best way to live. So because there is lot of talk about this, there are books which have been written about it. One thing is, there's a huge possibility that individual people may start imagining things on top of their head or between their forehead, they keep imagining many things. But you need to understand this, wherever you focus your mind, there will be some twitching. If you want, right now you experiment, hold your little finger like this and focus at the tip of this little finger, you will see within a minute's time there will be twitching. Any part of the body, if you focus your mind, some twitching you will notice. So that is not to be mistaken as some other great process happening within you. Or of course, there are physiological twitches and twists happening here and there. Once in a way it happens to you, you're sleeping, some part of the body, little bit of twitch and this and that. Especially if you're very nervous, it could happen to you quite often. If you're at ease, it may not happen. If you're in a little bit of tension or stress, it could happen to you in different parts. So that is not to be mistaken either. I don't know if I should say this, because if I say this, you may start imagining all kinds of things. If you become meditative, now that you are becoming, as you do Shambhavi, I shouldn't say this, it'll lead to all kinds of things. Because people have a very wild imagination. I always avoid telling them anything which is not in their experience, because they will start imagining all kinds of things. Anyway, if you don't do this to yourself, it's not necessary. If I hold my hand above my Brahmarandra, even up to 4 feet above, if you hold it, you will see a clear feeling in your hand, which is always in the form of something like an ache. This will be always happening if you keep your energies in a certain way. This can happen to every human being, but it is happening within. It doesn't extend itself beyond, because the final 2 chakras out of the 114 chakras that are there in the system, 2 chakras are outside the body. If dimensions beyond the physical become a constantly active process, some of you might have felt this in your Shambhavi, for a few moments, you feel something beyond yourself has become active. So if a dimension beyond your physicality becomes a continuously active process within you, then after some time, these 2 chakras which are dormant and outside the body become active. If they become active, there is you got an antenna on your head. You've seen a police antenna? You got an antenna on your head, which is giving you a certain perspective of life.
SADHGURU'S teachings.
Trying to be morally good. Let's say your children, you're good to them as far as you know how to be. Are you good to them because of morality? Because somebody has told you, you should not kill your children. Is that the reason why you're not killing them? Are you being good to your children and not killing them because somebody has told you that you must be good to your children, that is good morals? Is it so? So why are you so good to them? Why do you love them? Why not somebody else? Why are they your children? Because in some way you see them as a part of yourself, isn't it? In some way you see them as a part of yourself. Though they
may grow up and turn your enemies sometimes. Still somewhere, as far as you are concerned, you see them as a part of yourself, that you're able to look beyond all their nonsense, all their problems, all their everything, and still reach out to them, isn't it? Simply because you see them as a part of yourself. Yes, that's all the thing is, isn't it? So anything that you experience as a part of yourself, with that you don't need morality, obviously. Isn't it so? Yes? Are you understanding what I'm saying? Because you just leave out one step and when we go there again, you go back to the number one step. So anything that you experience as a part of yourself, with that you do not need any morality. Is it so? Yes. You don't have to try to be good. Morality means you're trying to be good, isn't it? So yoga means to experience everything as a part of yourself. Right now, let's say you gave birth to your child. It could have happened to many of you, you don't know. And in the hospital, they interchange your children with somebody else. You bring this child, this was born biologically to somebody else, but you believe this is yours. And you love this child any less? Your involvement with the child any less? Your DNA not there, but still you love it. So it is just your willingness to include somebody, so you are capable. It is not that it has to come from your body, it is just that if you are willing, it's possible, isn't it? If you're a little more sensible, maybe you adopted a child and love this child as much as anybody. Why you did not bear your wife or your husband, do you? They were born by somebody else. And generally your husbands were born by that horrible woman called mother-in-law. But you love that man, isn't it? Isn't it so? So, it is just a question of your willingness. If you're willing, you can experience everything as a part of yourself. When you experience everything as a part of yourself, you do not need morality. When you know the vulgarity of what is you and what is not you, only then you need morality. Otherwise, no morality. Why does a person who experiences everybody as himself need morality? With morals, you're only trying to be good. You will never become good, please see this. You can hold back your hands, but you can't hold back your mind, isn't it? Can you? You can hold back your physical body, can you hold back your mind? It goes everywhere and does everything, isn't it? Why am I running around like my tail is on fire? This is the best time to raise human. We have a window of 15 to 30 years, in my opinion.
You've been traveling, talking, speaking, connecting on an incredible basis. You've used the digital medium, you've connected with youth. You seem to be on a roll and a drive. You want to spread your message very quickly. What is your purpose now in the way you are connecting globally and in India?
Well, why am I running around like my tail is on fire? Is because… See, this is the first time in the history of humanity, this is the first time when our survival process is so well organized. I just want you to look back and see, 100 years ago, if you had to get your morning, let's say a bucket of water, you had to walk a mile and carry a bucket of water. Today, most people are not fit to carry a bucket of water for a mile. So, if you have a little bit of money, you can buy everything that you need for 1 month and stay in your house and your survival is taken care of. Never before human survival but so well off. All the time we've been struggling with survival. Survival is well organized, and for the first time, we can communicate to the whole world. Many great beings have come in the past. Let's say Krishna came, when he spoke, 25 people could not hear. A Buddha came as a gentle being, if he spoke probably 10 people could not hear properly. Today we can sit here and talk to the entire world. If we do not change the consciousness of the human creature in this generation, that means we are not interested. So this is the moment, because this is the first time survival is well organized and our ability to communicate is like never before. If we cannot raise human consciousness now, we can never do it. What is the significance of raising human consciousness? See, it's like this. When it comes to what is mine and yours, this is my body, that's your body, this is my mind, that's your mind, we may agree on a few things, disagree on some things, but what consciousness means is a dimension within us which is not determined by the boundaries of our memory. Our body is a boundary of memory, our mind is a boundary of memory, but our consciousness is a dimension of intelligence which is not marked by the boundaries of memory. Unless people touch this dimension, you can talk about unity, you can talk about togetherness as much as you want as principles and values, but never will it work unless human beings experience that sense of unity. This is what the word yoga means. The word yoga literally means union. This means, right now for most human beings, their experience of life is such, it is me versus the universe. It's a stupid competition to get into. Me versus the universe. No wonder always they're anxious, fearful, struggling, simply because it is an individual versus the universal. Yoga means to consciously obliterate the boundaries of your individuality. If you don't do this, you will never come to ease in your life. Forget about well-being, forget about blissfulness, forget about ecstatic states, you will not even come to total ease. I don't want to throw a challenge at you, but it is really something everybody has to check out. How many people can sit in one place with absolute ease, without any sense of any kind of stress upon them, simply by themselves, not with anybody else, just by themselves? I'm telling you, over 95% of the people cannot sit in ease in any given place, because it's always this little boundary of an individual and the universal. So raising of consciousness this means that human being comes to ease. Only when you come to ease, you are not in a fighting mode. This fighting mode has to go. Survival for the fittest is over. Now survival is available for all of us. This is the time to put down your fighting mode and see how to do something else. And now we have wonderful things coming that everybody fears. That also I've been invited to all kinds of conferences and people, academics coming and asking me, Sadhguru, this artificial intelligence is coming, what will we do? We will lose our jobs. I said, isn't it great, we'll all be on a vacation. See, the same thing, when the machines came, I know that these things happened. When the cranes came to lift things out of the ships and stuff, all the porters' unions protested. If the machines lift the cargo, what are we going to do? We want to carry it. So now the academics are talking the same language. If the machines do all the academic work, all the information-based work, what are we going to do? This is the same labor class now, new labor. So, this is a time when physical work and intellectual work, everything that is memory-based, data-based, is going to be done by a machine. This is the best time to raise human consciousness. And we have a window of 15 to 30 years, in my opinion, because right now, as I said earlier, because people are thinking logically, heavens are collapsing in their minds. It only existed in their minds, now it's collapsing. Because heavens are collapsing, people are tending to move towards all kinds of things, particularly chemical use. If you want to be healthful, there is a chemical. If you want to be peaceful, there is a chemical. If you want to be joyful, there is a chemical. If you want to be blissful, there is a chemical. If you want to be ecstatic, of course, there is ecstasy. So, people are moving towards chemicals. Just leave the rest of the world. In India alone, in the last 25 years, the consumption of alcohol has gone up at least 10,000%. Yes or no? It has. So, this is not a moral issue for me. What I'm saying is, once 90% of humanity goes on chemicals to keep their well-being, after that you can't talk to them. And the next generation that you produce will be less than yourself. If we make this happen, that the next generation we produce is less than us, this is a crime against humanity as far as I'm concerned, because the next generation has to be at least one step ahead of us, otherwise we have fundamentally failed as a generation. So this is our time on the planet. We have the highest level of comfort and convenience that any generation has ever known. Are we also going to be the greatest generation ever? This is the question before all of us. And we have the necessary means and technologies and capabilities to make this happen. The question is only, do we have the courage and commitment to walk this distance? That's what I'm trying to invigorate the world to.
SADHGURU'S teachings.
We just talked about Vande Mataram. Why do we call our country Mataram? Why not Patram, Pita? Why Mataram? Why it's motherland? Why not fatherland? Why not…
Because though essentially a nation is boundaries and the definition of a nation comes from a land.
Yes.
A land or… We've always seen it as mother, because if we sow a seed, life comes back. We see it as a woman. So, almost everywhere except in certain very martial cultures, always nation has been seen as woman or a mother, because it's a definition of a defined aspect of geography which makes a nation in a certain sense.
Is that… when did it begin?
I would say it began with this nation. This is the oldest nation on the planet. It defines what people think is a nation. The modern nations are made. People are making nations based on language, religion, race, ethnicity, maybe a little bit of ideology, one. Essentially, it is the sameness of people which makes a nation. But we, as we have known this nation for over 8,000–10,000 years as Bharatvarsh, we have never defiled ourselves with sameness. If you drive 50 kilometers, people look different, wear differently, eat differently, speak different languages, everything. What makes this one nation? When the Europeans came here, they went about saying, this country that we have heard about, it doesn't exist. There's nothing binding this, how can they say this is a nation? But for over 8–10,000 years, within this subcontinent and also in the remaining part of the known world of those days, everywhere people refer to this as one nation, though at some points we were over 200 political entities.
Yes.
So what is it that makes this nation?
Yes.
This is something the leadership in this country and the people of this country must really look at. It is not language, it's not religion, it's not race, because this nationhood predates all religion. When there was no religion, there was this nation. We call this Hindustan. It did not mean
representing a particular group of people who belong to a certain religion. It is only a geographical description. The land between Himalayas and the Indus Sarovar is Hindustan. It does not represent a particular religion. We never had a religion, we still don't have, we're struggling to compete with others, but we still don't have. Because this is not a religious identity, this is a geographical and cultural identity. But what kept us together for so long? No nation on the planet has stayed together for so long. It is essentially, if you look at it, we have always been a land of seekers versus people be… When we look for sameness, we try to become land of believers. People believe in one thing, so they come together. Here, we've been always a land of seekers, seekers of truth and liberation. In this seeking, we found oneness, because this seeking is not something that you invented, this is the nature of human intelligence. The nature of human intelligence will naturally want to know, realize and liberate itself. So this nation was built on that fundamental… You cannot even say it's built. At the same time, it's been managed on that fundamental that you are seekers. When you are a seeker, you are not aligned to any one particular thing. It is just that you're aligned to the life process within you, and that never goes wrong. Always, every life, it doesn't matter how badly you contaminate them with belief systems, with brainwashing and whatever you do, still an individual, once his survival is taken care of, he seeks to know, he wants to know what is the nature of his existence, what is everything around him. Whether you call it science or spiritual process or inquiry or quest, it doesn't matter what you call it. Essentially, human intelligence wants to know, wants to transcend its present limitations, wants to liberate itself from the fetters in which we're existing right now. So we built a nation on this longing, this seeking, and it cannot be destroyed as long as we keep this seeking alive. If we do not transform ourselves towards sameness, we will always be one. If you try to transform yourself towards belief and sameness, we will not be one.
Was that Bharata?
Yes.
Is India different? Has India changed and changed the Bharata? Was that Bharata?
Bharat.
Bharat.
Bharat means Bharata. Bhava means sensation. Because your whole experience of life is sensory right now. What you see, what you hear, what you smell, what you taste, what you touch are different types of sensations. So sensation is the basis of your experience right now. This is the fundamental of your experience. Bha means sensation, out of which comes emotion.
Right.
Ra means raga, or the tune. The tune is not yours, the existence has already set the tune. You cannot set the tune. Now you have to just find the rhythm, which is the thala. If you find the right rhythm, you are a fantastic human being. If you miss the rhythm, you're crushed by the process of life. So we called this nation Bharata, and the first, or not necessarily the first, one of the great kings of the past was Bharata. People say the country is named after him. No, he is named after the country. There are so many Bharats and Bharatis in this country. Their country is not named after them. They are named after this nationhood.
Did we make a mistake then in converting our name from Bharat to India?
A serious mistake, because you need to understand this. Whenever somebody occupies a nation, any conquering forces, when they take over certain nations, first thing they will do is they'll change your name. This is the technology of dominance, this is the technology of enslaving. You must see, if you look at the African-American history, when African people were brought in, the first thing is, at the port, their names were changed. Whatever they had African names, they were taken away and some silly names will be given. That's what has been done to us. Thiruvananthapuram is Trivandrum, okay? Chennai is Madras. We don't know whether we're mad or we're rascals. Like this, India, what does it mean? It doesn't mean anything. So if I give you a meaningless name, you will become a meaningless, stupid person in front of me, because I have a meaningful name, I have a tradition, I have a culture, you have nothing. So in that context, we have become Indian. This is the first thing, because the concept of a nation must sink into everybody's mind.
Yes.
Because nation is just an idea. When this idea burns through your mind and sinks into your heart and your passion is risen towards that, then you have a real nation. Otherwise, nation is just in the paper. This is the unfortunate reality for us right now. So at least when they left in 1947, the first thing we should have done is change the name in such a way that it resonates in some way in everybody's mind.
Right.
Now you are using an English name for an Indian nation. Hardly 2–3% of us can speak English language in this country properly, okay? The remaining people are essentially left out. I think this is one thing I would like to request the present Prime Minister. We must rename this country in a way it reverberates in everybody's heart. I know a whole lot of intellectual crowd will say, what is in a name? Okay, call yourself Tobu, call yourself Momo. People are doing that.
Yes.
I'm not against anything. All I'm saying is, when you utter your name, you must understand there is sound. Whatever we utter is only a sound. The meaning is only a psychological thing, a social thing. Right now if I say Kiran, it's only a sound. The meaning is psychological and social. Leave the meaning of it. The sound is existential and it has a power. Bharat has power. This power has to reverberate through everybody's hearts in this country. And the idea of what it means to be an Indian, the fundamental concept, 5 things you must know about being an Indian. This must get across to every human being, because if every human being who lives in this country, if his aspirations are not the same as the national aspiration, then you don't have a nation, you just have names. It is not just that the name will do everything. Name has to inspire passion in people for the nation. Right now, they have only hormonal passions going, there's no passion for the nation.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes.
So that is why what is happening to the woman is happening.
Yes.
So, it is not that a name is a solution for everything, but nationhood. Why nationhood is important is, why can't we think about the whole world? We can. But nationhood is the largest piece of humanity that you can be committed to right now. That's why a nation is important. When we say you are committed to this nation and its well-being, that means at least if not 7.2 billion people, at least you're committed to 1.25 billion people, which is a great step from being committed to your own personal well-being.
Yes.
So in that sense, nation is important. As a spiritual being, for me, I'm not a nationalistic person that way. I would like to look at every human being and every creature on this planet the same way, that's how I am. But nation is important because the scope of one's passion, involvement and concern has expanded beyond likes and dislikes of 2 people sitting here.
With the return, as we notice, return of Hindi much more. In the last 10 days, Hindi has returned much more. So we might hear Bharatvasi much more, Bharatiya much more.
You're leaving us out, we are from the south.
Then you learn a little bit of Hindi then.
No, we won't.
You won't?
No.
Why?
That is why I'm telling you, it is not the sameness which binds us. We are different people, but we are fine together. That is the nation, that is the nature of this country. That is what has to be encouraged.
Okay.
You don't try to teach everybody Hindi, you don't try to teach everybody Tamil. I speak Tamil, you speak this thing, you eat paratha but I eat idli, I think that's the best thing, you think that is the best thing, it doesn't matter. But we have no issues. In the same family you can work, 5 people are there, they're worshipping 5 different gods, but no problem, in the same room.
I don't see an imposition, I see more of a promotion. That's what I feel.
That will happen anyway.
We are in a cusp, where we are in a position today, we've got a decisive mandate. I'm not being political, but that's a political reality today. We have a decisive mandate today. Where does this mandate begin from? And where do we all fall in? Where do we fall in place? Because this is being webcasted and millions of people are watching you all over the world as Indians. I think we've got two responsibilities. One is a people's responsibility.
I have
the
decided
others is a leader's.
from now on I will not use the word Indian.
Why?
I would like to use the word Bharat.
I told you, Hindi is coming in.
I have started the moment…
That's the Hindi name of India anyway.
No, it is
Hindustan. We also call it Hindustan.
Yes, actually, Hindustan describes the geography, Bharat describes the culture.
Right.
I think a time has come
Right.
where our identity has to be cultural, because culture is inclusive. This is something we must understand. When his 7 sages, who are now considered the celebrated Saptarishis of this country, you must understand this first of all. The greatness of this nation is in pursuit and accomplishment of spiritual dimensions. It is this spiritual thread which is holding the country together, this longing to know. If you hack it, then you cannot maintain the sovereignty of this country, believe.
Is it religion?
It is not religion.
No?
No, I'm telling you, the nationhood, what we call as Bharat, predates all religion. So when Adiyogi was asked by the 7 sages, how many ways can we attain? He said, if you use your physical body as a foundation, there are 112 ways of realizing the divine. But if you transcend the physical body, then as many atoms there are in the universe, that many doorways are there. Do you call this a religion? Religion means that you believe this is it. And unfortunately, religious teachings, a whole lot of religious teachings do not believe in nationhood. They do not believe in the fundamental existence of a nation. Now, this is not about going with somebody, for somebody, no. First of all, we must decide, are we a nation? If we are, the idea of a nation should be burnt into everybody's head.
How? Where do we begin from?
Schooling, of course.
With the teachers with no general knowledge?
You can train them in a summer.
Who trains them?
This is what needs determination in the leadership, that's what I'm saying. What is this country? See, I must tell you this. The United States of America, in the 20s particularly, when a whole lot of Italians and others, particularly Italians, a lot of them moving to United States. Now they speak their own language, they eat their own food, they're among themselves, they will not mix with the so-called American thing because their culture they think is richer, they're somewhat, like a exuberant population like India at that time, so they won't mix. So the US government did something which is amazing, which today I'm sure a whole lot of intellectuals will brand this as fascist, but they'll all queuing up to go to United States, of course. US government made posters. For Germans, one kind of posters, for Italians, one kind of posters, Jewish people, another kind of posters. Within the kitchen of every home, they must fix this poster. It's a government-released poster where an Italian housewife, how she should serve an American breakfast every day in the morning, how she should be dressed, how the table should be set, what should be for breakfast. For lunch, dinner you can eat Italian, but breakfast should be American. Understand? I'm saying this may sound fascist,
Yes.
but it is with this they integrated different ways. I'm saying even something so small as what you're eating for breakfast, the government is looking at it because they're interested in making a nation.
Oh.
I was amazed, I saw that poster is still with me somewhere. I was amazed to see that somebody went into such elaborateness of putting people together. If you'd left them like that, they would all be separate nations within a nation and fighting with each other.
Absolutely.
Whatever said and done, America is such a melting pot, but one nation, If we want to turn around this planet in terms of water, in terms of soil condition. This is something most people ignore in terms of ecology. The soil, the damage we have caused to the soil on the planet is the biggest. Other things may be visible, ice is melting somewhere, it's visible, but the damage to the soil we have caused across the planet is incredible and most dangerous, because this is where life evolves. You and me are just a little bit of soil. If we fix the soil, water is fixed, air is fixed, everything is fixed. Soil must be rich and on, because this is the same sod.
Very well said, and I can give a little context for that. 3 things that will give us a livable planet and give us a sustainable planet for 10 billion people by 2050. And it is this 100% renewables, 100% regenerative agriculture, and saving half for nature. And so your point about soils is really at the centerpiece of all that.
This human being is a tremendous possibility. Humanity has the intelligence and for the first time the competence to fix things on this planet like never before. We are the first generation who have the necessary competence, intelligence, technology and communication capabilities. We have to exercise this competence. We must raise human consciousness. How open everything is left in you. This is what consciousness means. Consciousness means a limitless existence. Every human being has to come in contact with this dimension of intelligence within us. Only then we will function in a way that our well-being is not detrimental to something else, not just another human being, to everything else. This is not an ecology class, this is the nature of existence. If your experience is limited to something, everything else unknowingly you will damage. If your experience includes everything, then everything that you do, every action that you do, every breath that you take will be in contribution to everything else. How many of you been to places like Kumbh Mela and things like that? You been to Kumbh Mela? The big one that happened in Allahabad, have you been to that? After 144 years, it comes. If you go and see there, you must go, you will see India, okay? An India of another dimension, which today the educated population in the country are completely missing. It's incredible, I'm telling you. People are putting their last penny and traveling from somewhere just to be there for 2 days and go. I'm saying it's that level of people, where 100 rupees would mean like what a million would mean to you, that's how much 100 rupees will mean. That kind of people, putting everything that they have, they come with their families just to be there because somebody has told them on that day if you take a dip, you will attain mukti. Not that you'll see God, not that God will come and give you a heap of gold, you will attain mukti. Still, 800 million people in this country are actively seeking liberation, knowingly or unknowingly. It's an incredible thing, nowhere else on the planet there is such a phenomena happening that there are human beings longing to go beyond their present level of existence consciously. Nowhere else such a thing has happened. When Mark Twain visited India, he spent 2.5 to 3 months in India. There's a book about his travels. Along the equator, he traveled around the world. So, he said, anything that can ever be done, either by man or God, has been done in this land. This is one of the best compliments India has ever received. And that is so. In terms of understanding the mechanics of how a human being is made and what we can do about this, nowhere else has anybody looked at it with the profoundness that it has been looked at it in this culture, nowhere else. I'm not saying this being biased that I'm born in India, so I have to boo-boo-boo.